Hello, and welcome to Storyline True Crime with your host, Candace Hayner. Each episode, we navigate the unscripted stories behind shocking true crimes. Please like, comment, and share to support the show. Please note that the names of several individuals in this episode have been changed. In 2009, with the help of two others, Russian national Sergei Marenkov co-founded a website called the Dark Fetish Network. The trio had identified a niche market of people with sexual fetishes and fantasies outside the, quote, mainstream, and they set out to create a social media platform where those individuals could connect and interact. It was essentially a clone of Facebook, featuring personalized profiles, public chats, private messages, groups, and the ability to publish photo albums. Sergei took on the role of webmaster, overseeing the administrative side of the website and providing technical support. He also wrote all of the descriptive text on the site's homepage. About a quarter of the way down, under the heading, "Welcome to the Dark Fetish Network," Sergei had written, "Welcome to the social network where you won't feel like an outcast because of your dark fetish. Why? Because this place is created by people like you, for people like you. So feel free to look around, meet some crazy, in a good way, people, and become part of our growing adults-only 18-plus community." The welcome message ended with a disclaimer. "Please also remember that this place is about fantasies only, so play safe." To use all of the site's features, viewers of the Dark Fetish Network had to sign up to become members. All they needed was an email address and a username. Unlike competing websites with a similar theme such as VetLife, which had nearly 2 million users worldwide, the Dark Fetish Network amassed a much smaller community of about 38,000 members. Once registered, members were able to create a personalized profile that could be viewed by other users. Filling it out was optional, but doing so was considered essential if you wanted to easily connect with like-minded people. A profile was divided into 3 main sections. The first section covered basic personal information, including the members' first and last names, country of origin, gender, and age. The second section, titled About Me, allowed members to write autobiographical summaries about themselves. The third and most important section was titled About My Fetish, where members could describe their sexual preferences. The Dark Fetish Network encompassed all types of fetishes. The most popular was sexual asphyxiation, but other common ones featured on the site included bondage, voyeurism, exhibitionism, humiliation, and objectification. There were body-focused fetishes centered on feet, stomachs, and hair, and others involving supernatural or mythical themes. Users interacted through consensual role-play scenarios, following storylines they devised and assuming roles, much like actors in a movie. For site co-creator Sergei Marenkov, the fantasy aspect of the Dark Fetish Network was paramount. He claimed to terminate the accounts of anyone who violated the site's terms of service, including those engaging in conversations that, in his words, could have led to something bad. Sergey stressed that the fantasies discussed on his site should never spill over into real-world criminal activity. In 2010, a new member joined the dark fetish network under the username Girl Meat Hunter. While he withheld any identifying details, his profile revealed that he was a man from the United States. His profile picture depicted a woman with a large red apple stuffed in her mouth, accompanied by the quote, "Tonight, my dear, you are the main course." In the About My Fetish section, Girl Meat Hunter listed what he called the easy ABC: abduction, bondage, and cannibalism. While others enjoyed fantasies of women willingly submitting to torture, death, or being eaten, Girl Meat Hunter dismissed consent, saying it ruined the whole thing. "I am a little different," he wrote. "I am a little more sadistic. I would want her to suffer. I would want to see her suffer." Not long after signing up to the dark fetish network, Girl Meat Hunter followed a trend that had unfolded on the site by uploading a photo album titled, "What Would You Do With Her?" The trend involved users compiling photos of women they claimed to know in real life, typically lifted from their social media accounts. Other members then commented on the photos, reflecting their own sexual fetishes. For example, those interested in BDSM might write about hog-tying the women and forcing submission, while those drawn to sleep play might describe drugging the women and engaging with their unconscious bodies. One Friday, Girl Meat Hunter uploaded images of 10 different women, labeling them Girl Number 1, Girl Number 2, and so on. By the time Girl Meat Hunter logged back in on Sunday night, his album had received approximately 50 comments. Out of courtesy, most of the comments were tailored to indulge his passion for bondage and cannibalism. "Damn, she looks tender," one user wrote. Another left a comment urging rape and mutilation. Delighted, Girl Meat Hunter referred to the women as, quote, "extremely rapeable," outlining how he wanted to tie them down and assault them before escalating into the more macabre. He said he would truss one up like a turkey and place her into an oven while she was still alive. Once dead, he would butcher her body, cook the meat, and, quote, "the sounds of her screams will be the sweetest music to my ears." By January 2011, Girl Meat Hunter was well known on the dark fetish network for his group chat contributions and for sharing large amounts of hardcore pornography, though his real-world identity remained hidden. Whenever users praised his posts or shared an interest in his fetishes, he reached out to them privately. Over time, he established a close-knit circle of around 20 people with whom he kept regular contact, some more frequently than others. Their conversations were far from casual small talk. "Hey, got some time to play around a bit?" they asked one another before beginning or continuing a role-play scenario. Others enjoyed role-playing with Girl Meat Hunter because he was a decent writer. He also catered to their fetishes rather than focusing solely on his own, crafting in-depth stories that spanned a wide range of kinks even after his own needs were met. If Girl Meat Hunter wasn't satisfied with how things were progressing with a role-play partner, he abandoned them. Meticulous and detail-oriented, he preferred partners who were equally graphic and explicit. Scenarios couldn't be rushed. They could last weeks, with role-play sessions lasting for several hours at a time. While he wasn't online every night, he typically appeared 3 or 4 times a week, and sometimes throughout the day. Girl Meat Hunter was often invited to roleplay as the captor of fictitious women in peril, but those scenarios didn't excite him. What aroused him were fantasies involving the 10 women he allegedly knew in real life. He continued to share their photos online, along with their names, ages, physical descriptions, occupations, and relationship statuses. He imagined them chloroformed and kidnapped, stripped naked, bound, and displayed on a platter with an apple in their mouths. He fantasized about slit throats, decapitations, and making bacon strips from belly flesh. When a user asked if he would ever actually eat human flesh if the chance presented itself in real life, Girl Meat Hunter bluntly replied, yes. Over time, his fantasies grew to include almost 100 women, each one described as someone he longed to kidnap and cook. One of the downsides of the dark fetish network was that it could be slow to load. Eventually, Girl Meat Hunter and his core group of role players shifted their conversations to Yahoo Messenger. The free platform offered features the dark fetish network didn't, including instant messaging, file sharing, and the ability to see when others were online. While Girl Meat Hunter remained active on the dark fetish network, if he connected with a role player he particularly enjoyed, he shared his Yahoo Messenger handle to continue the scenario there instead. He used multiple usernames across different websites. For the sake of clarity, we will refer to him exclusively as Girl Meat Hunter. Around June 2012, about 2 years into Girl Meat Hunter's online presence, he began receiving messages from a member of the dark fetish network named Meat Market Man. Based in England, the only other thing Girl Meat Hunter knew about him was that they shared a mutual lust for cannibalism. Meat Market Man claimed he had killed and eaten 2 women in real life. Their conversation soon moved to Yahoo Messenger, where Meat Market Man went by the name Moody Blues. The two chatted almost nonstop and often late into the night. By July, their conversations had taken on a more purposeful tone as they began plotting ways to make their fantasies a reality. Moody Blues assumed a mentor-like role, helping brainstorm methods to torment Girl Meat Hunter's intended victims. In one exchange, Girl Meat Hunter described a softball player he knew as, quote, the most desirable piece of meat I've ever met. Moody Blues suggested knocking her out with a baseball bat, calling it poetic justice. In another conversation, Girl Meat Hunter proposed that Moody Blues travel to the U.S. so they could kidnap one of the 10 women he was infatuated with. Moody Blues agreed. How big is your oven? He inquired. Big enough to fit one of these girls if I folded their legs, Girl Meat Hunter replied. They ultimately settled on a woman named Charlotte, who Girl Meat Hunter described as one of his favorite victims. He had fantasized about her for 10 years, relishing the idea of slaughtering her and noting she had, quote, good meat on her arms. When Moody Blues suggested they eat Charlotte alive, Girl Meat Hunter replied, I'm not really into raw meat. The men proceeded to discuss staging a cookout with Charlotte as the main course. I have a place up in the mountains, Girl Meat Hunter wrote. No one around for 3/4 of a mile. Maybe we'll tie her to the rotisserie and cook her outside. Moody Blues questioned how they would get Charlotte over the fire, noting that a spit would kill her quickly. He suggested she'd be confined in some kind of cage instead. Girl Meat Hunter considered securing her body-torn apparatus and cooking her slowly over a low flame, deliberately keeping her alive for as long as possible. He said he was in the process of building a pulley system in his basement to hang victims by their feet. That's where she will be held captive and raped, he explained, adding that once Charlotte was dead, she'd be taken down and properly butchered before being put in the oven. Moody Blues noted that if they didn't waste any of her, they would have nearly 75 pounds of food. What do you want to do with the head? He asked. Girl Meat Hunter replied that when they sat down to eat, he wanted Charlotte's head displayed as a gruesome centerpiece, fixed in her final expression of terror. Moody Blues expressed doubt about Girl Meat Hunter's commitment, saying, "I've been let down before." Girl Meat Hunter confidently explained that he had the entire event planned in his mind, though he was still working out the final details of the abduction, which needed to be flawless. He intended to show up at Charlotte's home unannounced, so she would never see it coming. He would then knock her out with chloroform and wait until dark before taking her away. When Moody Blues suggested it might be better if they targeted a stranger to avoid suspicion, Girl Meat Hunter responded, "Her family is out of state, convinced that no one would connect him to the crime." As the pair continued to devise their plan, Moody Blues mentioned he had anesthetic gases, while Girl Meat Hunter would make the chloroform using a recipe he had found online. They grew giddy at the thought of Charlotte sleeping peacefully elsewhere, completely unaware of what they were preparing for her. "Her days are numbered," Girl Meat Hunter exclaimed. He intended to do a dry run, showing up unannounced in Charlotte's neighborhood under the pretense of a casual hello. Though unsure how the plan might eventually unfold, he insisted that his intention of kidnapping Charlotte and getting away with it was the absolute truth. On Thursday, July 19th, 2012, Girl Meat Hunter informed Moody Blues that he had arranged to meet Charlotte in person for brunch that coming weekend. He then emailed through a document he had prepared titled "Abducting and Cooking Charlotte, a Blueprint." The document contained personal details about Charlotte, including her name, date of birth, height, weight, and bra size. In a section titled "Materials Needed," Girl Meat Hunter had listed the tools required to carry out his fantasy, including his car, a plastic tarp to line the trunk, chloroform to render Charlotte unconscious, the strongest kind of rope to bind her, duct tape for gagging, plastic bags for her clothes, and a pair of cheap sneakers to wear. "I'll be eyeing her from head to toe and licking my lips," he wrote, adding that he longed for the day he could render her unconscious with chloroform. Moody Blues joked that Girl Meat Hunter would be more focused on eating Charlotte than his brunch. After the weekend, Girl Meat Hunter immediately messaged Moody Blues, commenting on how mouth-watering and delicious Charlotte was. By late August, his fixation had switched to two other women on his top 10 list, an 18-year-old high school senior named Lily and another woman named Georgia. He spoke of his desire to capture and kill Georgia, saying he wanted her to absolutely suffer, and claimed it was personal. "If Georgia lived near me," he wrote, "she would be gone by now. Even if I get caught, she would be worth it." While Girl Meat Hunter remained primarily dedicated to abduction, bondage, and cannibalism, he also developed a fascination with slavery scenarios in which kidnapped women were sold to the highest bidder. Combining this new interest with his existing fetishes, he created a new photo album on the Dark Fetish Network titled "Cook Her or Sell Her." Starting in late January 2012, he confided in another slavery fetish enthusiast known online as Mike Van Hise 81 about plans to also turn these fantasies into reality. Girl Meat Hunter offered to abduct a woman off his list to sell to Mike Van Hise for $5,000. Her name was Marissa, and she was an elementary school teacher whom Girl Meat Hunter knew in real life. He sent Mike Van Hise 4 photos of Marissa taken from her Facebook page, warning she is kind of feisty and no nonsense. Not sure how soon she would submit. Certain he could break Marissa in more ways than one, Mike Van Hise eagerly envisioned turning her into his slave, quote, "sex, maid, and otherwise. If she tried to escape, he would beat her. If she tried again, became pregnant, or was unfaithful, he would kill her." Girl Meat Hunter's tone grew grisly and mechanical as he outlined his plan to stalk Marissa. He knew she had a week off work coming up and suggested abducting her then,
as this would give him more time before anyone realized she was missing.
He described rendering Marissa unconscious, placing her in a large suitcase, and wheeling it to his van to deliver to Mike Van Heis's home in New Jersey. She would remain fully dressed so that Mike could have, quote, the pleasure of unwrapping his gift. The pair even discussed raping Marissa together before going their separate ways. Girl Meat Hunter demanded the full $5,000 payment upon delivery. When Mike tried to haggle, Girl Meat Hunter refused to accept any less, insisting he needed the money and emphasizing the very risky nature of the job, which could ruin his life if he were caught. He wrote,
I am putting my neck on the line. If something goes wrong, somehow, I am in deep shit. $5,000, and you need to make sure she is not found. She will definitely make the news.
He added that he aspired to become a professional kidnapper, framing the price strictly as business.
When Mike Van Heis expressed doubt that Girl Meat Hunter was going to follow through, Girl Meat Hunter replied, I am just afraid of getting caught. If I were guaranteed to get away with it, I would do it. When asked, are you sure? He answered firmly, definitely.
Then, on the night of Saturday, September 9th, 2012, something unexpected happened. After 2 years of consistent activity on the dark fetish network, Girl Meat Hunter abruptly closed his account.
He immediately informed Moody Blues on Yahoo Messenger, who wanted to know why. Girl Meat Hunter explained, less of a chance of getting caught. To be continued.